Hello. Okay, I think sound is on. Let me check if all okay. Okay, that seems fine. So last time we were doing loading from bitmap, and we were implementing this load bitmap function, and then I started to implement a load part of bitmap, which is kind of complex and it didn't work. I couldn't figure out that time what was wrong, but I figured it out in the end. So basically what I was doing, I was not copying anything. It's really silly what I was doing. So I was copying into this row from bitmap data. That was my source, right? Yeah, so I said row is bitmap data, which was actually not yet copied. So in between streams, I was playing around a bit and I've lost my previous state. So I'm just gonna explain what I'm doing now. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm reading. I need to read line by line into this row buffer that I created, and then I can copy from that row buffer into the target, which is basically our bitmap data, and then I'm advancing target by entire row. However, this is still not enough. This is still not fine. We need to do some other stuff here. But first, before we do that, I want to show you something else. So at this moment, I have I am loading a bitmap using the normal load bitmap function, so I'm not using this part of bitmap thingy. And let's just quickly check our test bitmap file, how it looks like. Let me actually make that like this. So now we're loading the test bitmap file, which looks like this, right? So it's red, green, blue, right? Red, green, blue, red, green, blue, and this is blue, green, red. So let's load that up and see what happens. I will quickly build this and load it up. So if you take a closer look, our first pixel from left is not red, it's blue. It's blue, green, red. It's blue, green, red, and blue, green, red, and the bottom left is red, green, blue. So what's happening basically is that I did not know that, and probably took very wrong image to for this thingy. The bitmap order of colors is different than, so if I have RGB color in bitmap, the byte order in bitmap file is blue, green, red, right? And what we are specifying in our code in function bitmap format to GLPixel format, we are specifying order red, green, blue for 3-channel bitmap, and it's an easy fix, right? If I just say in here blue, green, red, then I will get good. Then I will get the colors correctly. Yeah, so now they are in the order that I was expecting, right? So you see it's red, green, blue. I don't know, we can probably maximize this so it's better visible. So it's red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue, and it's blue, green, red on the bottom right corner. So this is what we are expecting, but there are other image formats that we may want to use in the future, which will have byte ordering in other directions. So they will have like we assumed bitmap has here red, green, blue. So I don't think that solution where we have where we store in our bitmap. Let me go to the bitmap structure. Where we store in our bitmap just number of channels, right? So, and I set 1 for grayscale, 3 for RGB, and 4 for RGBA. So I actually need to store not, I believe it will be better to store the pixel format, right? So something like this, right? So I'll change the code to store pixel format, and pixel format, and then I'll say, so the AI is offering me grayscale, RGB, and RGBA. I may also I'll use, for example, pixel format, BGR, and pixel format, BGRA. I think that's the order. So how can we figure this out? So that's what I will store instead of number of channels, and then number of channels will be implicit for this. It will be 1 for this format, 3 for this, 4 for this, 3 for this, 4 for this, right? So if I will just scrap this away and store in their enum pixel format, yeah, so that's it. Thank you, AI. Again, you saved me some typing. So obviously now we will have some errors somewhere, and I don't know how in Vim I can quickly go to errors. I guess it's here. Yeah, bitmap number of channels. So in here we will have bitmap pixel format, and no, it's just pixel it's just format, right? Format, yes, okay. And if we have 24, we can say pixel format. So in case of bitmap, it's gonna be BGR, right? And for 4 channels, we will have a pixel format BGRA. I think that's the correct one. Anyway, there's an OpenGL equivalent, so I will see later if that's the correct one or not. And in here as well, in the part of bitmap, we need to decide this as well, right? So change this so that we can have format in here, and we can just say x pixel x is pixel format BGR again, and for this one it's BGRA. Okay, so in here for we must have a function that can give us a number of channels for pixel format, and now I'm thinking, should that be like a global function? Should it be somewhere in here, static? It's probably gonna be inline, uint 32, let's return full integer, get number of channels, get pixel size. Oh, is that a good name? Let's see what he is offering me. Yeah, I think that's a good name. Get bitmap pixel size. Let's use that name. Get bitmap pixel size, and let's write a comment. Get the size of a pixel in bytes. Very nice, thank you. Of a bitmap pixel. Of a bitmap pixel. Yeah. Okay. So now I can have that function down below instead of this. And what was his? What was the? Sorry, I need to check what the AI has generated function for me. So I need to check. Hey, it's called bitmap bitmap, right? Yeah, okay. So let's go here and just change till semicolon and get bitmap pixel size for the bitmap. Yeah, that's it. So that should now completely work. Actually, let's I see it's required in some other, so I can maybe just say uint 32 num channels, right? This is get bitmap pixel size. Channels is get bitmap pixel size, right? And I can then replace this with channels, and I can probably replace this with non-channels and this one as well, right? And this one as well. Okay, no channels, yeah. Okay, so that should still work like it was working before. Okay, and let me, what was it? Did I mark it? No, I didn't mark it. So I get the size of bitmap pixel in bytes. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So we have 3 bytes here, 4 bytes here. Okay. Okay, that seems fine. And let's go back to this buffer, and this so this in here is no longer num channels. It will be switch for DA, yeah. So it will be switch BMP format, and we have several different cases. So let's see what is he recommending. Let's go back, undo please. Yes, I completely understand that. It's okay. Case bitmap format, grayscale, RGB, RGBA. That's a nice start, I would say, but we also, yeah, okay, so he doesn't change TLF pixel format. Back. So it looks like that the AI is not remembering all the things that we have in our code, right? So that seems to be a bit problematic. Then he will make up stuff when he goes, right? So we also have case pixel format BGR, and that will be very nice. And we have a case of pixel format BGRA, which should be, yes, that's it. Okay, so I expect that this will compile and still work in the completely same way. So we have the red first, that looks fine, and that's very, very nice. Okay, so my next problem is how do I load a part of bitmap? And the complication comes from the fact that in bitmap file, first row, first pixel, for example, is the bottom left in actual image, which is how OpenGL likes it. But now when I'm loading a part of bitmap, so I'm specifying X and Y coordinate, and my Y coordinate, I want it to be from the top of in the image space, right? Not from the top of the data, but from the top in the image space. I need to basically translate that to something that's in the bitmap space, in the file space, right? So it's basically gonna go from bottom, if I understood correctly, For the purposes of this next exercise, I have developed a small sprite sheet. It's a beautiful piece of art. Let me show you. So I have this sprite sheet, okay, and it's a 64 by 64 image, and it also has, you see, various colors: red, green, blue, and white, and black. And in each cell, which is 16 by 16 pixels, I have a letter, so I can easily identify if I'm actually loading the correct one. So I will simply, for now, just load the thing as I would load anything else. Where's my test BMP? It should be somewhere here. Okay, thank you. And this is gonna be test sprite sheet. All right, that's the. So let's load that just to see that the image is perfectly fine. Yeah, so this sprite is now 64 by 64 pixels, and then it's loaded into a 16 by 16 area, right? It's still displayed kind of correctly because we are stretching 64 by 64 to somewhat more pixels. But you can see, if I scroll this, you can kind of see that, let me maximize this, you can kind of see that we are kind of losing some information, I would say. There's a certain, not lag, but there's certain, I don't know, I really don't know, maybe that's just effect of scrolling this fast over the screen. Kind of like a pixel shimmer or something, I don't even know how to express that. Maybe that's just my screen, I'm not in vertical sync here, so maybe that's the problem as well. So let's see. So rendered, blah blah blah. It's 60 frames per second, so there's no problem with the rendering, right? Rendering is still fast. It's just that you see average UPS would be the game would be rendered at 1161 if we didn't had that main loop sleep, right? That slows it down. But now I want to use my load part of bitmap, right? So instead of whole bitmap, I'm gonna load just part of it. And I want to load, let's say, I want to load letter N. So that's this, right? I expect it to be blue, and I expect that there's N there. And based on my how I want to define this, I want to go 16 from left, 16 on X, 0 on epsilon, 16 height, and 16 width. So this is what the target is. So I was testing something else here, and this is 16, right? 0 and 16 width, 16 height. See the function k. So the first parameter is file, then it's x, then it's epsilon, then it's width, then it's height. So that's what I want to load. I want to get n on screen. But will I get it? So I got b. And why did I got b? Because let's go back again to this. So the B, it's down there, right? And it's in its proper orientation, right? But it's just not loaded properly. So I think I don't remember now correctly how I'm loading it. I think I'm skipping. I'm not skipping any row, which means that I'll start somewhere from here, and then I load up the first row of data, which is basically the thing down here, right? That's the first row because the bitmap is bottom up. I load that and then I just kind of extract this. Let me minimize this and just a second. Let's make this. How do I do that? Like this now, like this, right? Shift. Yeah, that's it. So let's do it like this so we can analyze the code, right? And let's go into the function that actually loads it. So load part of bitmap. Next. Okay, so what I do first, I read the header, I read the info header. One thing that's new, I'm now always checking, I require that info header height is positive. So why is that? That's because I've noticed that not a lot of software will actually, most of the software will return you a positive height, which means that the bitmap will be bottom up. So the bitmap has a support for negative height here, which would mean that the bitmap is top down, but apparently that's not used. And this actually simplifies our life, right? So now I don't need this absolute height, so we're gonna clean up the code a bit. So let's do it like this. Change word. So it's again 32t. It's info header height. Yeah, that's and yeah, again like this. Right? No. Change word. Yes, that's it. Thank you AI. So if my so what I'm doing here, if my expose rate goes out of, you know, the width of the image, then I'm gonna simply reduce the width that is gonna be copied. So this is because I don't want to ever try to copy anything that's outside of the image. Here I'm asserting that x is less than width and epsilon is less than height. Should this be assert or should this be just a direct return? So there's nothing to copy, there's nothing to load. I think I'm gonna leave it as an assert. So if you're specifying that you want to load a part of bitmap and you're specifying coordinates which are outside of bitmap, I think that should be, the program should crash, or at least in some future when we will have some kind of error reporting, there should be an error, list visible somewhere, and the image should maybe not be returned or something like that. I need to still think about it. But if, for example, x and y are within the image bounds, but the width and height is not, right? So we are going outside. I am truncating the width and height to the size that's acceptable. And I still need to test this if this is even working, but that's how it is. And then I create a bitmap structure by creating it in our super duper memory allocator. I pass in the width and height. Here we are using alignment 1 because now we are actually directly gonna copy the pixels. And if you remember, this alignment is basically only on the ends of the sorry about the sound. Only on the ends of the rows, right? So the rows are aligned, not individual pixels. And here we assert that our info header width and that we are in the suitable format. Actually, we can assert that earlier, I guess. Let's just move this somewhere here. And same, I will guess same for this one, right? Assert that info header, yeah. So let's go back here. And we are specifying the format. Let's move this. So this is the thing that we did before. So for bitmap, it's always gonna be BGR or BGRA. And we need to test alpha bitmaps, but I expect it's gonna be BGRA because I think I've read it somewhere. It's kind of fuzzy, but it should be BGRA. Then we have the we're getting the number of channels, which is basically a bitmap pixel size, because we will not support bitmaps that have more than 8 bits per channel. So that means that if I have 24 bits, it's 3 channels, right? And this is the function will return that. We calculate the bitmap stride, so this is calculated based on the info, the width and the bits per pixel. And this is basically, the stride is basically telling us how much do I need to move in memory, in number of bytes, to get to the exactly same x coordinate, but next row, right? But next epsilon. And data size is that's what we are going to, that's the size of our target image. So data size is that good name. Let's see, maybe it should be bitmap data size, right? Bitmap data size. Just so that we are completely clear, and I will also do that here. Where did I do that? Yep. Okay. So what else do we have in here? So one more error. So this fread function, I can't wait until I replace this function. This is very confusing function. And I always need to go and check it. I actually have it even open here. So size, the first parameter is the size of individual element, and memp is the number of elements, right? So terrible choice for a function. So when I will create my own IO API, it's just gonna be number of bytes that's gonna be read, and that's it. So why would I even do it like that, right? So we have okay, so where are we? Okay, so now we create the target pointer where we want to store the data. Okay, and then we create this thingy here, which is a row buffer where we're gonna load the data. So this is temporary memory, which I release immediately after I am done with the buffer. It's not. It's actually for entire bitmap row, which is too much. I'll fix that later. Then here we have a file opened, but now I want to go to the place where actually bitmap is, so that information is placed in our file header at bitmap offset, and I'm using 6set, which is basically an absolute move from the top of the file to this marker at bitmap offset, right? And then I am skipping epsilon lines. In this case, it's gonna be 0, but it actually needs to be, I think it needs to be height minus epsilon. We will see that. So then I'm going from that epsilon, and I'm just reading the stuff. And I'm reading from top to bottom. But I must read in other direction. And this is where all the complication comes from. Let me just quickly try to build this again, and yeah, so we have B, but we want N, and that's the problem. We have B, but we want N. And that's the entire problem in its entirety. So if I just, so I'm thinking out loud. So I'm not gonna draw everything, nothing here. So if I just say height minus epsilon, and perhaps -1, all right, what will happen? I wonder, will we break the system? So now I have F. Interesting. F. I had B, I want N, right? Why would I have F? Okay, this is gonna be complicated, more complicated than I thought. Okay, so undo. It's epsilon times right. So epsilon is 0 because I'm saying it must be 0, right? So I'm at the beginning of the file. So that means that I'm on this row right here. But I want to go to this row here. And that's my target height, right? So this is my height that I want. So I need to skip to okay, okay, I know what I did wrong. So it's info header height, which is gonna point me to the last pixel, basically, after last pixel. Minus height, like that. Yeah, okay. -1. So that's what I need to do here. I need to go from here all the way here. And then I'll jump into correct row. And then I can still read row by row. And everything will be fine. Okay. Whew, let's see if that will work. So it's info header height minus height -1. And we have our beautiful N. But we also have a problem. We have a small problem. So we've missed it by 1 pixel. You see there's a white line below. So I need to probably not move by -1, right? Okay. Probably help me. I could make my life easier by just drawing a small diagram about this, and then see what am I doing wrong. But I got it right, even with this very clumsy and primitive approach. So that seems fine, but now I want to simplify the code. So there's actually really no reason at all why I would have this current epsilon, right? So I'm not using it anywhere except for, so I can probably just change this into I and say it's 0, right? And I change word I is just like this, and change word I plus plus, right? So we just want to read few lines of height, and remember, height is gonna be truncated. We are ensuring that the height is never too large, right? So let's see that now. build that again. Yes, it's still absolutely working. And one thing, so there's 2 pixels, I believe. 1, 2, 3 pixels. So if I say 1, 2, 3, if I say third, right? So if I move it up a bit, right? Actually, yeah, let's see if this will work. If I want k, so then my x is 32 and my y is 16. Let's go and see if that will work. So my x is now 32 and my y is 16. Oh, come on, please work, please work. I don't want to spend days here on this. It's O. It's O. Why is it O? Because I'm not mounting for epsilon. I don't have, I'm not jumping by epsilon. So let's see what I need to do. I immediately know what I did wrong, so it's just some stupid mistake of mine. So I said we jump to place. Think this needs to be, so this is info header height. I think this needs to be height plus epsilon. Just a second, I'm thinking height plus minus height plus epsilon probably. So height is so this is the height of image, right? So it's basically 64 for this one. And then I said to get the last row, which is first row, basically to get the first row, I need to kind of get to this place, and this is minus height, right? Minus height of what I want. But now I want this one as well, so I need to say minus height plus epsilon. Let's see. It's epsilon. Yep, that will work. I think it's gonna work. I hate this. I hate this one. Yeah, it's K now, and it's fully red, and there's no white around it, right? Yeah, there's no white around it, which means I got it correct. Okay, cool. And now I want to get G. If I want to get C, I want to have, so X is gonna be, what is the X is gonna be 0, 16, sorry, 32, Y is 0, 16, 32 for G, and 48, right, 48. Let's see if that works. BB, change word, 48, so that should give me C. It's all the way down, right? It's 48, and that is giving me C, and it looks correct. And if I want to get just the last line of the number C of this one, I will get something. Where is, I need to do something really strange. I can say I want to get 63rd pixel. Let's see, that should work, right? Yes, I have I have blue color only now. And if I move that by what, 8 pixels to the right, then I shall get white, blue and white. So if I say change word 40, right. Yeah, that should give me blue and white now, which it does, right? So it's half half, very cool. And you can see there's a slight error. I think we can fix that if we render to frame buffer, which is actually 320 by 240, and then you see it. Let me try to maximize. You see this? That's an error. Okay, now it's gone, but I can probably get it back. Can I? No, I can't. Oh, okay. So what else can I do with this function now? So let me do m, right? So back change word. So this is gonna be 0, and this is gonna be change word 0. So that should give me m, right? So first pixel 1616. I like m very much, so I'm gonna test with m. M is good. M is a nice letter. Okay, so that seems like an M, and it looks almost exactly as. Does it look like that? Yeah, I think it does. So yeah, I think there's not at least they're not noticeable, the errors, right? And what else? What else can I get? Can I get like an H? Okay, H is very nice letter. So it's what is it? It's 48. It's 48, 48. Very nice. That's a good number. good coordinate. It's a brilliant coordinate. Okay. That should be H. Letter H. No, that's D. Why is it a D? Should it be 40? It's 48, 32. Sorry, 32 from top. Okay, change word 32. Scripts and build, and yeah, that's an H. That's an H. Beautiful H. And I believe we're done with this basic. I think this is this function is not probably perfect. Yeah, it's definitely not perfect, but it will work for us. So how will I explain? Okay, one other thing, right? So before I close this off, I really don't want to use in my temporary memory, which is my row buffer, which is somewhere in here. I just can't see it. Row buffer, push to arena, row buffer. Here it is. We are using stride, complete stride, right? So that's actually enough bytes to store entire line of data. So if I'm already conserving memory, I should actually conserve it in proper way, right? So this row buffer shouldn't be larger than its width times non-channels, right? Yes, that's what the row buffer size should be. And when I'm reading into it, I am reading entire row buffer, but I should probably, and then I'm copying that part from X, but I should probably skip some parts, right? For example, I can say in here, I will say fsig this is now this is too much. But yes, the AI is correct. It's by x times is it x? Yes, x times null channels from current position. Okay, and then I can read only change word. I can read only what is it? Reader times null channels. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna read. And then I need to assert that I have read the correct amount of data channels. Okay, and then then I will copy that completely. So there's no offset here, right? So because whatever I have read in the raw buffer is the actual data, I'm copying that to target, and I'm using this, width times new channels. I'm moving the target by that same amount, and I should stick the file, and I want to go to the next row, but I need to remember that I have already read some data. So I will seek file by stride minus, so it's num read. I can do just num read, right? Num read. What's the word? It's num read or num read, or, and I believe now this terrible piece of code should work. I mean, this is really terrible. I'm gonna be completely honest. This is terrible code. Okay, very terrible. Yeah, let's. I was thinking, should I maybe preserve the data somehow, or yeah, that didn't work. What was I even reading? Was I reading P or N, or what was I reading? We will need to see why this didn't work. So this line goes to the correct row, right? For example, here, right? This thingy here. Okay. Here. Then I say go here, right? With this F6 here. Okay. And now skip X times non-channels. That's fine. Then I read width times non-channels. That's fine. And he asserts that that was read. Okay. Then I copy that into the target. I move the target pointer, and I seek the file by stride minus whatever we have read before. And that will bring me, I think I need to also, I see what I did. Okay, I have stride. Yeah. So I shouldn't seek this each time. I can go only by, only once at the beginning, right? Because X is, okay, so I'm here, right? And then I go here. That's the this seek is doing X times non-channels. And then I'm reading this and then I seek by strike, which will bring me here, but it's actually, if I remove the num red, it's gonna bring me back here. Okay, so I figured it out. Okay, that's not too bad. So it's just a stupid beginner's mistake. I am a beginner in game development, but now we've got our letter H correctly read. So this code is extremely slow, right? So we are loading a part of bitmap from bitmap file by issuing a bunch of fseek mem copies. So it's really not something good, but it was a good exercise, right, in understanding how to even do it. Must be honest, I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever use it. I'm gonna use it for some stuff. I did this function as a mistake, right? Basically, so I said I want to have a function that loads part of BMP because I could have like larger sprite sheets with all the sprites, and then I want to load it into a texture. But what actually people do is that they load entire sprite sheet and then they kind of draw just part of the texture of that sprite sheet. So the entire sprite sheet will be loaded into memory. So I don't need to generate one texture for each, sprite. I can put entire sprite sheet under one texture and then just order the system to draw part of that texture. This is what people prefer to do. But since I already started writing this function, I've never done that before, so I was kind of interested. How would I do it, right? So it's just my pure interest. We're gonna leave this function in because I'm gonna probably use it for the next part where I will want to draw more than one sprite on screen. So we will see how that will go, because I'm not sure if OpenGL can handle that in the way I think it can. But we will see. I will see. We will see. You will see. Everybody will see. Okay. So I believe. Let me just check this function. Is this clear enough? Well, I guess I can simplify this by. No, this is complex. This one is complex. I could put this plus, x times number of channels. So this one is going to the top of the bitmap data. This one is going to, so let's see, minus height plus epsilon, right? So if the bitmap height is this, minus height that I requested, it's gonna be here, plus epsilon, which will move me down, so we're going basically down. And one interesting thing I would like to check before we move away from this is, can I load C or A? Let's load A. So let's move this to 0 and then this to 48. Can I load A? Yes, I can. So what, to recap, what I am basically doing is following, right? So let's go line by line, right? So first we move the bitmap to the beginning of the bitmap, and in BMP file the beginning of the bitmap is bottom left pixel. Okay. So now the next thing we do is we move it by, we move the cursor on the epsilon line, right? So I hope you can see this. Yeah, I think it's visible. So we move the epsilon line by, okay, we move it all the way to the top, okay, Then we reduce by the number of at least by the number of, you know, the height of the individual sprites. And then I even reduce it more by epsilon, right? So for example, I set, if I say my epsilon is 0 and my height is 16, I will be here. If I say my height is 16 but my epsilon is 16, I will be here. Remember, I want to be at the bottom of the image, right? Because this is how the data is laid out. Okay. Then the next fsig tells it, okay, move to the right in whichever row you are now. And let's say my x is 16, right? He will move here, okay? Like, sorry, if it's 16, he will move here. But let's make it 32, so he moves here. So I'm at 32, 16. That's my coordinate, right? And now I am reading the first line. The first row is width, just width is 16. So I've read this. Okay. I'm here now because I've read this. And then I'm moving up on my next fsig by entire row, so I will be here, but I'm offsetting him by the number of bytes that I have already read, so I'm here, right? And then I'm reading it again, and then move again, move okay, here, okay, and then move here, okay, move here, and so on. Okay. So the question is, can I do a test? I'm gonna pick a part of some letter. Let's say part of, which one? Which one? A. It's very low below. I want to draw just from here, right? Which is at 48, 0. That's, I can see it on the bottom left corner. And my height from this pixel is gonna be width is 16 and height is 10, and my coordinate, starting coordinate is 48, 0, 48. So I'm literally reading now from the software, from the tool. I want to get, like, it's the height is 10, width is 16, x coordinate 0, epsilon coordinate 48. I'm expecting to get this image out. It's gonna be a bit skewed, but I am basically expecting that out. So it's okay. I already have 0.48, and what was it? It was 1610. Change. The height is 10. Okay. So I want to get just half of a. It should work. Yes, it does. So it's skewed, it's stretched on the epsilon axis. That's because I'm obviously rendering this to a 16 by 16 sprite, if you want to call it like that. But you can see that the information is in there. So we don't have any bottom line. At bottom in the middle we have white, which is part of letter A. Then we have probably 2 pixels in the middle of black. Yeah, that seems fine. It's just stretched. So, okay, let me select some other guys. So it's, let's, for example, do like, what, J? Right, so we can say top left corner is at 1616 and width and height is 1616. So that should be J, right? So this system, it appears to be working, so 16, 16, 16. Yes, I believe I did it correctly. You know what? It's usually that these kind of things they break when you least expect them. Okay, J looks correct. Yeah. So I think this part now is done. I'm kind of happy with the results. So, uh, and I think that the code is readable, but I will, since it is kind of complex in my head. I mean, it's not really complex code. It's just something that I'm not used to. I will just say, I will just annotate these lines. Go to the beginning of the bitmap data. Fine. Okay. Move to the bottom of target rect. Bottom in image space, right? Bottom in image space. Okay, and then of target row, probably charge row. Move left. Okay, okay, that's fine. And now read a row. Okay, and yes, space. Okay, that seems fine. That seems fine. Probably these comments will probably make it only worse, but what can you do? I'll probably not go into this function too much, to be honest. Okay, I guess we can simply let's quit GDP. Yeah, I was debugging off screen. Had some nice time. Let's just make it git status and git add scripts. What I was doing, fix git commit and was fix script check path. Right, that was there, and then what else? Status can debug build system. What was I doing here? Git add assets pacman. Git commit m add strum structure art. Git status. What else? Git add. Okay, git commit m. Implement bitmap loading entire bitmap and part of bitmap. Okay, so I pushed it and we are done for this stream. It was short and sweet. Next stream, I will reorganize the code a bit because I feel there's too much happening here. So there's so many these guys. So what I need to do in the next stream, I want to go to my main function in here somewhere, and then where I have where do I have it? Game tick. I want to extract that from the pacman. Right. I don't want to have it here, and that's it, right? And then I want to have like a separation of a game from our platform engine logic. I think I will do that in the way that I have seen on Molly Rocket Handmade Hero. I will probably do it as DLL. That's gonna be an interesting exercise for me, but I'm not yet 100% sure. Okay, really not sure. Would I go with that same approach? I'm thinking it will be an interesting exercise, but for this kind of small games, doesn't really matter. Can I have everything like game logic, Pacman, Pacman.h, just implement it in here and then call it each. This game tick will be in pacman.h file and then just call it in here and we're done, right? But yeah, I'll see. I need to think on it. So where do I even call the game tick function? I can't find the place. So it's G what? Come on. GR references. Yeah, seems correct. So that's the code from here. Yeah. We pass in the game state, we pass in the input state, and we pass in the graphics. So another thing, I would probably just pass in, it's not too much, right? Even if I pass in sound in here, and what else will I need to pass in? So I will pass in sound, input state, graphics, platform. Yeah, platform API. So this is graphics API. So this is input state that we collect each frame. Then we have graphics API, right? GD. That's graphics API. We can also have a platform API which has functions that the game can call, and these functions will be, for example, load sprite, right? So that's gonna be a function. Or maybe unload sprite, right? Maybe even how many sprites do I have loaded? Do I have any available space to load more sprites? And so on, some kind of management functions, right? So I'm thinking, should I? Is that part from API? No, that's kind of asset API, right? So what else do I need? I will need obviously to load sounds. Can I make this simpler? Do I need so many header files? Can I simplify them under smaller headers, right? Just few of them, or maybe just 2 or 3 or whatever. That's something I need to decide on, right? Let's close this one. That's quit. Yeah. That's E. And that's it for us today. Thank you and bye.